First, they tried to do aggressive accounting, and they were told that they couldn't do it. So Deloitte basically said, "Dude, I'm an auditor. I am charging you. I was charging you 1.5 crores. Now I'm going to charge you 5 crores because you guys have done some real drama, and I need more work to unravel this stuff." Essentially, Byju's is a financing company. It's like an NBFC. Reason I say that is it happens to sell educational services, but the funda is most of the buyers that they seem to get borrow money from some NBFC or even from Byju's themselves in order to pay for this educational service. Many of them, because of mis-selling by a lot of people who are employed with Byju's or selling for Byju's, tend to not even know that they're getting a loan. So they think they're actually Byju's is charging them per month 6,000, 10,000, whatever, and that they can stop whenever they want. Many times you are sold, "Acha, you only pay 10,000 rupees a month. Check, no, 3 mahina dekh lo agar hota hai." Then the person gives you a document that says it's a loan from some Hero Finance or one of those financial companies. You don't even realize because the Byju's guy is sending you the document. You sign off. So they essentially, you don't have an education. That's why they're selling. They take this document, and then effectively now you have a loan against a Hero Finance. But why is Hero Finance giving a customer a loan to buy educational services at all? Because Mr. Baiju has a fee, FLDG, a first loss default guarantee, which allows Hero to say, "Listen, that bugger is not paying, you pay me." Which means if he's supposed to pay me 10,000 rupees a month, you pay me that 10,000 rupees a month. So what happens really is that, when the loan is taken, let's say the 2 lakh rupee ka course, or 1 lakh 80,000 or something, the Hero Finance will give off straight away to Baiju, saying, "This is the cost. That flow will pay me 10,000 a month for the next 20 months. So I'll recover my loan with whatever interest. But if he doesn't pay, you pay me back." This is now a financing part of this operation, right? So you've got this. Now, what Byju's was saying was, "Listen, I mean, I've sold it. 1,80,000 is my revenue. I should be able to get that 1,80,000 as revenue. Why shouldn't I take it?" But with the FLDG in place, you have to then go back and say, "Listen, you've given a first loss default guarantee. How many of these people are not paying back?" It turns out a significant number of them were not paying back because the auditor notes that it is not probable that Byju's will recover this money from the customer, which they are paying as effectively as first loss default guarantee, or in another case where there's no Hero Finance involved, and Byju's themselves has told the customer, "You have to pay me for 1 year, but you pay me 6,000 or 10,000 rupees per month," where that also the customer has stopped paying. So effectively, they're saying any amount that you've decided that you will get at a later stage, and you are not being able to recover, we will mark that as unrecoverable. And therefore, what you said was your revenue is 3,300 crores, but it's actually not 3,300 crores, it's actually 2,200 crores. So one third of your revenue is unrecoverable in the first place. This is weird because what that also tells me is that in March 2021, if there was a guy who had taken a loan and he was only 2 months down, he had paid 2 months, but after that he stopped paying. Finished March 2021, it's gone beyond the end date of the audit. After that, it may be that the company is not able to recover any further money, but it's possible these current revenues don't even reflect the damage that also has caused. So the revenue may not even be 2,200, maybe 1,800. We don't know. Why am I harping on this? I don't care. Byju's can report whatever it wants. It's only between Byju's and its own investors. The point is, eventually these buggers are going to come back as IPO, no, at some point, whether it's in India or abroad. Then we have to look at these books and say, what have you done in the past? If in the past you've done all this goodal, which is basically a way to say, "Listen, you wanted to show us a version of the books that you believed, but it is actually not true, and the not true part came later," which means that I can't trust your numbers as they are today because tomorrow something else may happen that's against it, right? So this has happened in multiple companies, Educomp, ever. I think there was so many educational companies that have been listed, tried the same kind of stunts without the big venture capital cap that Byju's seems to have. and then done the same thing. And now, so they're saying that next year, oh, we're all fine, our revenue has gone to 10,000 crores. By the end of that audit, that might also come back to some 2,000 crores in the end. I don't know. I'm just saying that what they claim as revenue is unaudited. Once the audit goes through, then very, very different things can happen. What's important to look at in the balance sheet is these things. Where the auditor has said, the auditor doesn't need to say this, right? He can just say, listen, your revenue is not 3,300 crores, it's 2,200 crores. The auditor has taken the pain to say, listen, this fellow tried to tell me it was 3,300, but I told him it is not 3,300, it is 2,200. Imagine the level of scrutiny this has gone through for the auditor to write this in the first place. So you have to not just look at the books as saying this is what they're telling me. The sequence of events that have led to what they have told me, this tells you that there's possibly other damage in the books as well. So if you're looking at a balance sheet, you're going to have to read between the lines and read the lines as well. So it's telling you a story that, well, there probably isn't just one cockroach. If you find a cockroach, it's going to be a lot more, but then the language itself indicates to me that there's something happening. Then you look down and you say, well, they seem to have a lot of money. They're supposed to have paid Akash Tutorials ka owner some money, Blackstone, I think. They were supposed to pay about 1,900 crores. 1,900 crores for a Byju's is nothing, but they haven't yet paid it. And that's very strange because they were supposed to pay it by July, and apparently now by September 23rd, they're supposed to make that payment. They haven't, at least we don't have news that that payment has actually been made, which means, all sorts of stuff is happening. So people are saying that Byju's doesn't have cash. Now, why do I get worried about this at all? If anything, it's only the cross effects that happen, because if you have a failure in Byju's, if these guys have failed to secure further funding or whatever it is and all that, then you have a fairly large impact to the Indian ecosystem around startups itself, because the scrutiny around founders will go up, and I'm sure there'll be other places where other companies where such things have happened or are in the process, and so on. And the trust factor becomes less at a certain level. The second important thing here is that there are a lot of public companies who have lent money to people who Byju's is servicing. So, and Byju's is given a first loss default guarantee. If Byju's doesn't pay, these become NPAs on these companies' books. So I won't name all of them, but there are public entities whose books involve these numbers. Now the numbers are small. It's only 2,000 crores in total, so it may not be massive. This is as of 2021. But they say it's increased. So it could be a 5,000-6,000 crore loan book by now, or even more, which might be in stress. If you ask me, there's possibly a lot more stress than we can see there. And there, the effect may come down to financing players who are publicly listed. So that's also another problem. The last bit I'd say, when you look at books, see, Byju's books are an education. So in a way, they are giving you that education. So, however you want to put it, but the problem really is you have to take these things, you have to go through it with a fine tooth comb. There are lots of other things. Okay, they have added 300 crores to intangible assets. 300 crores to intangible assets from what? I mean, so it's not from the acquisitions, it's some other parts as well. There is a professional fees element of 672 crores. I mean, that's huge, man. I mean, I don't know if maybe it's part of it is payments to, they've said payments to teachers is 300 crores. That still leaves 300 crores per year, in 1 year, to be paid, which it can't be legal fees. It can't be fees to auditors. So what is it really? And all of this, the numbers are just so astoundingly different from what we're regularly used to, that you might just look at this and say, exactly how is this happening? So I think, you should treat Byju's books as educational material. We did a master class in Capital Mind. We were sat down there, let's look at this and see what all we can learn from this, because it teaches you so many things. The auditor is a better educator in this whole process than Byju's themselves. And maybe that's a good thing. I mean, education to kaise bhi mil raha hai, to free mein mil raha hai, but theek hai. Just don't be a shareholder in this company right now. That's all.